Today we are talking Daryl Dixon, Season 3, Episode 3. Welcome to Screens in Focus, the podcast where we talk about TV and movies. I'm Diana. Renee is back. Hi, Renee. How are you?
I am excited about this episode. How are you?
I'm good. I do want to let everyone know that we do have TV and movie recommendations. So stay through to listen to all of those because we have some great recommendations. But right now, we're going to talk about Daryl Dixon. And I did want to start with a listener who called in and answered our last question of the day. And the question of the day last week was, if you were introduced to a new community or came upon a new community, what would be the first thing you would want to know about them? And we gave our answers, and they had said that they would want to know their idea on integration. So, because they had mentioned there's Ezekiel's group, there was Gregory's group, which I had mentioned, and there is Negan and the Savior. So, you never know what type of group you're going to, run up against. So, I loved hearing that, their perspective on that. And also, that's why group consensus sometimes can be helpful because, look, you had one idea, I had one idea. She had another idea. So it's like, if, we come together, then we can survive in an apocalypse if that ever happened to us. So I appreciated hearing her answer because I really thought it was a smart perspective. So, and hopefully she's going to call back, or any of you, please call in and let us know what your answer is to our question of the day. And here it is. Why do you think Daryl paused to watch Justina and Roberto? What do you think he was feeling? Okay, so we're going to break the episode down and then we're going to come back and answer this question. Okay, Renee? So Daryl is so laser focused in this episode. He's like, we're just doing this. We do see Carol have some deeper connection to Solaz, the community that she's in. And we see some tense walker battles, some tender romantic moments, and also a tease for Rick's brother that we just talked about last week. So I'm so excited to talk about all of this with you, Renee. So first off, before you give me your highlights, I want you to give me 3 words that would describe this episode.
Okay. Heartwarming and breathtaking and thrilling, of course. It was very thrilling.
Oh, I love those words. Mine are tender, thrilling, and revealing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to probably touch upon these since this is how we saw the episode. So what was one of your highlights?
The top highlight for me was Carol mentioning, her friend's brother in Barcelona, because we've been talking about this. I initially wrote about it. I looked back, it was like November of 2024 when I first wrote about this when they were going to Spain. So I've been waiting for any kind of nugget of this. And so I was so excited for that.
I jumped out of my seat. I was, I paused it. I listened to it again. My husband's all, what are you doing?
Did she say what I think she said?
Yeah. I even have chills as we're talking about it. So I explained to him what it meant.
Yeah.
And then we watched it again. And it's so funny how a few little words can just change everything, right? Her friend has a brother, Barcelona. I'm like, this is so crazy. So I love that highlight. Did you have any other highlights? I'm sure you did.
And I loved Daryl and Roberto's side quest. It was just that was just fun to see them together. But most especially all of that in the water and the boat with the walkers, and it's like, I feel like this season's kind of like been focusing more on the people, and then we forget there's these. We've seen walkers, but they're kind of behind bars. They've got them trapped and kind of that kind of thing. So it was exciting to see all of that transpire while they're trying to get this part for the boat and everything. So I really enjoyed that.
I felt the same way. This was a huge highlight for me. I loved how it was filmed. I love the point of view. because it almost felt like we were the walkers or we were the ones in the ocean coming up upon them. I'm like, oh my gosh, however this is filmed, the way that it is directed, I love it. I'm scared. When that walker came out of the water, I screamed. My son's girlfriend was in another room and she screamed because I screamed because she had no idea. It was hilarious. And I'm sure I made my husband jump too, but
It was startling.
I mean, you knew it was going to happen, but it didn't matter. It still, shocked the heck out of me when it happened. So I just love the way that it was filmed. I loved seeing the walkers, like you said, and how they looked coming out of the water. And also Daryl with that anchor, swinging it around his head and just, oh, it was so good. I'm like, this is what I love. And it's interesting because I don't know if you had seen what some of the articles out there, they were saying, oh, there's not that many walkers. They didn't delve into that. I'm like, what? Are you not watching what I'm watching? I don't know. This is good. This is feeding me what I want. So I did really enjoy that. Was there anything else?
I was just going to comment on how, Roberto's like, there's something, and Daryl's like, oh, it's a fish. I don't think it's a fish, Daryl. I just thought, I don't know why, but it just struck me very funny.
That is funny. Daryl said some funny things.
He
in
did,
this
yeah.
episode,
He just has some quick one-liners this time, and they're pretty good.
He's hilarious. So I also feel like we're really going to pivot with this ending that we saw. So I thought that was such a huge moment because I think now we're going to see Daryl and Carol go into action mode together. I'm excited about it. So speaking about Daryl and Carol, let's do a deep dive into what we saw here. What struck you with either of them?
It's always fun to see action Carol and, warrior mode Carol because she's so good at all that. But this has been, to me, it's been very good to see her have all these quiet, reflective moments. And she's, just living, like they talked about, living and not surviving. She's actually experiencing some of that right now. And I feel like this friendship with Antonio is something she's never had before, or if it has been very rare in her life, because of what we know before the outbreak with her abusive husband, who probably didn't let her have friends, or whatever. And then in the apocalypse, it's completely different. You do have friends, you have very close friends, but it's not this casual, like sit down and talk and watch a movie and do the, I really love this stuff for her, whether they become a couple or not. I'm just glad that she's getting these moments and she's able to, I guess, rest and just, relax and not be. I mean, I know towards the end then she was getting tense because of everything, but at least she's had these moments. And I just really like that for Carol.
So, as you were talking about Carol, it made me think this is probably why she was hurt. Because if Carol wasn't hurt and getting better or needing rest, she would probably be out and about and doing things. So I think this is probably slowing her down. Now, as you were saying that, it made me think about it, right?
Yeah.
Because you had said you felt like she was in a haze last episode. And so as I was watching this and thinking how she has slowed down and how Daryl's the one out there doing what he needs to do to get that boat running again. But we do see Carol connecting in Solaz. So, and getting closer to Justina and having her confide in her and just with Antonio and speaking more to him about just his life and seeing the pictures of his family and all of that and his love of cinema, just learning about him. So I think you're right. And then that dinner that he made for her, I'm like, ooh. Oh, and that look that they gave one another. Oh my gosh. I'm like, oh man, it's nice to see, At first I wasn't sure about either of them because I'm like, I don't know about this Antonio. But now that we're seeing a little bit more, I like, what he likes, what he does, and the way he is. He cooks. He loves movies and he loves his family. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. I mean, those are three really good things. So, and then I also love that Carol is bringing up people from home, like bringing up Jerry and bringing up Rick. And so I love when characters bring up other characters, and I don't know, it just does something. But that makes me wonder, is she filling a void right now? What if she does fall in love? What is that going to mean for them going forward? Like, is she going to choose, like, am I going to go home with you, Daryl? Am I going to stay here? So it also has me a bit worried. Have you thought about that at all?
Yes, no, I really haven't thought about that because I just imagine that she'll just go with Daryl. But I mean, if Roberto goes with Daryl, then why would Antonio not go also? I mean, it's not like he's got a great living situation. I mean, he's surviving, but he's not living, same thing with all this going on. So maybe they'll all go. I don't know. But yeah, no, I really hadn't thought about that. I just thought this is like a stop for her. It's just a time for her to, whatever. But yeah, there is, that's a very good possibility that if she does end up falling for him, what does that look like? So that's interesting.
What does that look like? And hopefully he doesn't get killed.
Yeah, of course.
That happens. Happens all the time.
I'm so over
right?
all these spinoffs killing off all the new characters as soon as we get attached to them.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, because again, if she falls, let's just say maybe she doesn't fall in love. Maybe it's just a little romantic thing, or maybe it's a week or a couple days that they're there, and then she's like, okay, I'm off now. Or maybe you're right. Maybe he goes with them. So, there's so many ways this could end up, but I love that we're exploring all of that. Also, I love seeing, like you said, Carol, she has time to nurture other people and care, because she tells Justina, look, you can confide in me. It's okay. I'm here for you. And of course, that makes her more attached, because when Justina's being taken off in that car, she's the one whose eyes are all welled up with tears. I'm thinking her uncle just says, basically, go with God, or may God bless you, or whatever. And then I'm thinking, Antonio, this is your son's love, right? But it's Carol, right? It's Carol with this care for people. We'll see what happens with her. What about Daryl? What'd you think about Daryl in this episode?
So I think you used the phrase laser focused, and that's exactly what Daryl, he is going home. Whatever he has to do, however he has to do it, he's going to figure this out, and that's where he's just determined to do that. He's had, a lot of heartache in Europe. He's lost Isabel. Laurent is gone. He hopes he's made it to the States. I feel like he just like all that loss that he's experienced, at least Isabel, there's nothing he can do about seeing her again, but possibly Laurent, and especially when we see him with the Rubik's Cube, and that was really touching. And so I just feel like he's just done with foreign countries. He just wants to go back home and, just live his life there. And so then we're seeing these little flashbacks, like they're so short and brief of his childhood trauma. I like they're so fast you can barely tell what's even going on. And I'm like, well, what's this leading to, and why all of a sudden are these coming back? You're coming to him and stuff, or what's happening here with him that these flashbacks are coming to him. So, and the way that they're doing it, to me anyway, I can't really tell. Like, it's so quick to me, I can barely tell what's going on. So it's not like it's very meaningful, I guess, or you know what I mean, to me, because it's just like I don't even know what's I'm looking at here, because it's so brief and so quick. But I'm sure it's building to something. But it's just that part's just very interesting to me, because they're not spending any more time on it than these very brief snips and things.
It makes me wonder so much what this is going to play into, but it has to do with his childhood. It has to do with Merle and his dad, and you're right, the abuse that they experienced when they were younger, and why is that impacting him right now? What does that mean? Our listener that called in had also mentioned about how it ties in because Daryl and Merle are brothers and we know their past, and here he's thinking about it. And so it would be very interesting and a brotherly moment to have Rick's brother be the one to help them. And you and I had talked about, how Rick and Daryl are brothers too, right? Even though maybe not by blood, but they're still family. So all of that brotherly love ties in. Also, I think that we see why Daryl is the way he is, why he's a loner, why he doesn't want to connect with certain people. Maybe that's why Carol is reacting a certain way and Daryl's reacting another, because he's like, oh, I'm just on a mission. I want to get out of here, because everything that he experienced in the first 2 seasons with Isabel and with Laurent, that's a lot of pain if you think about it. He lost somebody he loved, and then the other person he loved who was a kid had to go without him. That's a lot to carry. Just like Carol has had a lot to carry, and finally Carol's able to have that lifted and she's able to experience things. Well, now Daryl is kind of like, I don't want to get too close to people. That's why he tells her, look, we just need to mind our own business and not get too involved with the people here and just go.
Yeah.
And Carol doesn't see it that way, right? Because they're both on 2 different trajectories right now. I mean, yes, they both want to go home. But Carol just has more time and wants to, it likes these people and just, it's just in a different headspace. So yeah, it'll be interesting. And also we see Daryl change in this episode, because first he wants nothing to do with anybody. Then he ends up helping Roberto. And then he tells them about the U.S. and they bond over some of the states and Bruce Springsteen and all of that. And so at the end, he does tell him, you'll like the U.S., or however he phrases it to him. And finally, you see Daryl kind of lets his guard down.
Yeah.
Of course, that was right after the moment that you brought up about the Rubik's Cube, which really struck me. I thought that was one of the tender moments that I was thinking about was that, because the fact that he was carrying it, of course he would, but the fact that he was carrying it and then he left it there, I'm like, oh, Daryl, you're leaving it there. But I like the sentiment that it carried with doing that. So I thought that was pretty cool. What themes did you see here, or the cinematography? What struck you?
Like, I really was focused on the heartache that Daryl's experiencing. I felt like, he's always thinking of Isabel. He sees other people together. He sees something, and he's, this is like his, he's never experienced a love like that. Like, I don't think Leah, I don't know that was, it wasn't, I guess, as deep of a relationship as what I see with, Isabel and everything. I mean, the fact that he was able to kill Leah so easily, you know what I mean? And stuff like, after she betrayed him and all that, I know too. But, it's a very different relationship with Isabel, and it was sweet, and it was, romantic, and, very different. And so I just feel like he's carrying that a lot. And then, going home, of course, he's going to see his friends and family, but, Laurent's there, and then that's his tie to Isabel. And so I feel like it's just that heartache that he's going through with that. I mean, he's handling all of his stuff very well, but you just see these moments with him, and it's just, it's just a side of Daryl we don't always see. And so I really just enjoyed I guess, kind of almost opposite. We're seeing he's ready to do the things and kill the walkers and fight the people, but then he's got these, tender moments and things where he's still trying to handle all of that. So that was one. And then I was just like, the danger of the undead, because like the first couple episodes we didn't see a lot. They were building these characters. We're seeing, where they go to and all these things. And so now I felt like this episode, we finally got more of that, more of the walkers and things, which, the shows are all of the Walking Dead shows are based on the survivors. The undead isn't the main thing, but it's still an apocalypse. You have to, it's not like they've disappeared, they're still there. And so I really enjoyed that they did put some of that into this episode for that like amazing scene we were talking about. So, but I, I thought that was a good reminder that, oh, wait, there's still this all going on besides everything else. We're trying to deal with these bad guys and this and this. Oh, yeah. And then there's these guys who want to eat us. So I enjoyed, just that other element.
The themes that struck me was survival and sacrifice, because we see that in so many of the relationships that we saw. With Carol, it was with this community. She is giving her heart, but as we talked about, is she going to be torn and stained? So, like, what's this going to mean for her? And with Daryl, he's so resistant. He doesn't want to give any part of him, but he can't help it, because once he helps that kid, I call him a kid, sorry. Once he helps Roberto, I feel like now it's like they're connected. There's some sort of bond there. So then that's when they start talking, and they spent time together. So, he's opening up despite his past and what we see, what he's experienced as a kid, because that does come up when he's with Roberto too. So, and then we also saw Paz and Elena.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that was such a tender moment. I'm like, to watch these two, and they are sacrificing each other and how they feel for each other, and because they're trying to survive. Each of them is still trying to survive. And so I thought that was an interesting tidbit to see them. And I'll tell you, that moment felt really like I was like a little choked up. Like with one, I think it was Elena that was crying, and then when she goes off, when Paz was reacting. At first, I thought she was reacting to Justina, but then I realized, no, Elena's in the car. She's very devastated that her love is leaving. Yeah. So, and having to hide the fact that you care about the other person. And then Fede, he hides all those ribbons that have Justina's names. That was a lot of ribbons. Was her name picked every single time? Or does he take them out? Like, does he go through and did he take them out even before? That must be what it is, right? He probably went through all the names and took them out.
Maybe, yeah, because I was kind of confused about that. I was like, okay, they're in there. So it didn't explain it very well. It was just they were all there. So obviously he did something to ensure that she wasn't chosen. Yeah. But I wasn't quite sure how he went about it. But yeah.
I'm sure he took them out previously, because that would make sense, right? Because what if somebody else pulled it out or whatever it could have been? He just wanted no way that her name was going to be picked, which I find interesting, because at the end, again, he doesn't do anything. Of course, what can he do? He's trying to stay in this alliance. Yeah. With, I don't know if it's Guillermo or what that, he's trying to... trying to stay in the alliance by, by protection. Yeah. But he did say by protection. So it's like protection from who? Protection from them? Protection from, is there someone else?
Well, there's that other group out there. So maybe that one we saw with the masks and stuff at the beginning.
I saw them, but for some reason I thought, well, maybe they're going to help them, but maybe not. Maybe they're a third.
Yeah. I think the preview for the next episode, I think they were talking to one of them, so it'll be interesting to see what part they play, because we don't know, are they friends or not,
Well, and that sacrifice too, right? Because he has to sacrifice seeing her go because he can't do anything about it. And actually, Justina is sacrificing herself and just leaving. That was a lot too. And I thought, wow, you left without telling Roberto either. You just like took off. He's going to come back and be like, where's my girlfriend at? Where'd she go? Oh, man. So what about the cinematography?
Oh, yeah. It just blows me away. There was one scene where they were coming into the town, and it was just kind of, there was no one there really. And it was just beautiful, the buildings. And I think it's interesting. Like, I always think it's interesting to see, like, I know how cities are established, built here and blocks and that kind of stuff. But it seems like a lot of other countries, they have different ways of doing it. And it was built so long ago that, it's so much older than what we have here. But it's just real interesting to see how they're built so close together. And then, like this and that. And I just love seeing all these different angles. And it's just amazing to see just how different it is compared to even France, where they just were, it's fun to see that, the difference in that. But yeah, it was, that's why I use the word breathtaking in my 3 words because it was like, I'm just sitting there going, oh my gosh.
It was. And I really noticed several times them using the drones because it was such a high view of so many of the scenes that we saw. And it was a lot of times it was the opening. It was when they were toward the beach and Daryl and Roberto were driving, or like you said, the town. And there was a few other moments that we saw. And so it was just sweeping and it was cinematic. And it kind of gave us a scope of Spain, but also isolation, right? Because it's not like you see a hustle and bustle. It just really shows you what they're going through right now. So I just thought that was gorgeous too and breathtaking. So, all right, we are heading into our rapid fire questions. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions, Renee, and you're going to give me your gut first reaction. Okay?
Huh?
All right. What moment gave you an instant reaction in this episode?
I'm going back to Carol mentioning Rick's brother. I mean, that to me was just, if this is all we get, I'm happy with that. I mean, it would be great if Jeffrey somehow comes and sees them. But if not, I'm just glad that they acknowledged it because he was never mentioned in the regular comics. I mean, obviously, Rick and Carol had a conversation at some point, off screen. We didn't see this, where he shared this information, and so I love seeing, like, kind of like how you were saying with the names and things. I love it when they put something in like that, like, oh, well, I knew that about so-and-so. And then, oh, wait, they have, like they were doing whatever, so that was the one for me, just because we've talked about it. And it's been like, if you just Google it, it's just so many people have speculated what is going to happen with this. They're so close. Could they do this kind of thing? So I know that was just my main one.
Well, it's funny that I didn't even think about that, even though honestly, that was the most excited that I got. And I should have said that, but then I would have been following you down the line, right? Like I normally do, because we agree on a lot of the things. But but mine is when Daryl said, "Who the fuck is Alba?"
Yeah. I know.
Like, what?
He doesn't care. He's like, whatever, Carol. I don't even want to know their names. I got to deal with this Roberto kid already. I'm just done with everybody. And I laughed so hard at that. I was like, I think I laughed a little too hard, but it was too funny.
It was hilarious. And so that was my moment. The other was when I screamed, but I already told you about that. So anyway, and then the hot dog keeps coming up.
Yes,
right?
I know. He's like, keep your eye on the prize. I love that too, because we say that in our house all the time. Eye on prize, And so I love that he said that too, like it was like, stinking hot dogs gotta, we gotta do this.
We gotta celebrate. Carol, keep focused. We're doing this.
Get on track, woman.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Were you surprised by Justina's choice?
I wasn't initially, but then after the episode, I was like, wait a minute, she didn't tell Roberto. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. So initially I wasn't, because it felt like the story was leading to that. And she, she just seems like a person who cares for others, and she's worried about her friend and her grandma, or is it her grandma, I think, or their mom, whichever it was, and that connection and what they're going to do without each other and all that. So you felt like it was leading to that. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm, sad. That's terrible that she has to do this. But at the same time, it makes sense. And then the episode ended, and then I was, wait a minute. Then I remembered, wait a minute, Roberto has no idea. And then I was shocked because she's been doing anything to be with him. It didn't, she's willing to go to the United States. She's willing to leave her family, do whatever she has to do to be with him. So I wasn't, and then I was.
Yeah. It's funny because I have a yes and a no. So you had no, then yes. I had yes, then no. Because I was surprised. I'm like, what the heck are you doing? But it was leading us that way. We knew that's the way she was going. She was feeling guilty. And then Antonio even says, I'm afraid she's going to volunteer, because he knows her character. He knows how she is. Even when Roberto and her were at the water and they were on their way out, she's the one who said, no, we cannot leave this woman that we don't even know. She's an outsider and we have to help her. So it just goes to show you the type of person that she is, and guilt and everything weighs on her.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, yes, but no, I guess
Yeah.
not really, because that just seems like her personality. All right. Do you trust the boat captain? Ally, rival, wild card? What do you think?
Well, I like Valentina. I think she's really cool. I think she is quirky. She knows who she is. She knows what she's about. And I think she's trustworthy, but I just feel like she's leery of Americans. She's all right with Roberto. That's great. But, you're an American. And then she says that about the cruise ships, about, who the rudest people were. So, yeah, I feel like because they say something, whatever the Guillermo's group is called, that she doesn't support them. She's not with them. So I feel like she's trustworthy. She's just, going to keep Daryl at arm's length. I mean, she's okay to help him and things, but.
Yeah. I liked her too. I found her very interesting. She looked almost familiar, but she's not, but there was something about her that felt familiar. And then she laid that big old kiss on both those guys.
She's like, at the end of the world, this is what I'm doing.
Exactly. So, whatever works. And they're like, fine with it too.
Yeah,
so I'm like, good for all of you guys. That's awesome. I love it.
And the best thing about that, did you see when Roberto had one of those olives in his mouth and he had his mouth open with the olives there going, you'll have to go. It was hilarious because he was eating those olives and he just was like, he had it right in his mouth. It was really funny. He was shocked.
Yeah. But okay. So as far as trusting her, I think we can. Like, I felt like she was trustworthy, but I think they just need to be a little cautious also.
Yeah, sure.
Right. But I think she might be an ally. So we will see. All right. Oh, I have a screen bite, a screen nugget for everybody. So Carol and Antonio are watching this movie, right? And it's Luis Buñuel's 1962 surrealist masterpiece entitled The Exterminating Angel. And it's a film that Roger Ebert gave 4 stars and said it was a masterwork of macabre horror. And it follows this wealthy dinner and how guests inexplicably can't leave. And basically their true colors emerge. There's politeness, but then that drops and they're like, no, this is my basic instinct. So it kind of lends itself to this apocalypse and where they're at now because of, control and social tension and the fragility of human behavior. But I don't know this movie. Do you know this movie at all?
I do not.
Yeah. But I thought it was interesting. So a movie for them to have on there. So
very fitting.
Yeah. Did you have any thought about
just the scene in general? I love the whole scene, but then I also thought, I love his explanation for why he was finding the movies and things and trying to, keep that cinema alive, basically, for other future generations, which, I mean, as a movie lover, that's, that makes sense. So I really liked that.
I thought it was it was great. That little hand in there, I'm like, what? That hand? I'm like, wait, what am I watching? The Thing? The Thing, right? Yeah.
Just Thing, I think it is.
Yeah. Thing, Thing. So that was funny. Anyway, okay, we are getting back to our question of the day, which is, why do you think Daryl paused to watch Justina and Roberto? And what do you think he was feeling?
I think he was watching them and thinking of Isabel. I think he was just remembering his tender moments with her. And I think, he's just, I think everything he went through in the channel was kind of cathartic for him. But at the same time, it's just a loss you just don't get over in 2 days or however many days it's been. Especially I think for Daryl, because he really feels things. He tries to hide it, but we know, we've seen him, he feels things. And so, I think he was just like looking at that, thinking about how much he missed her, and his face, he looks so sad. His face just looks so sad. So I was just like, oh, don't cry. Because he, with the saying, if Daryl cries, we all cry, So I was like, don't cry. So yeah, that was hard. It was hard to see him like that, you know.
Yeah. Like I said, we saw a lot of tender moments here,
Mhm.
and this was another one because the fact that they purposely showed that to us, they're like, okay, here are these two lovebirds, these young people in love. Even though they're in an apocalyptic world, it's like just when you're younger and you're in love, it just feels sort of like it's you guys against the world and you guys can do this. But Daryl's lived in this apocalypse as he talked about
Mhm.
in episode 1. So, yes, I think he was thinking of Isabel for sure. But what exactly was going through his head, I don't know, but it was heartbreaking because it makes you put yourself into that position. Oh my gosh, he's missing Isabel. He had that. He sees this young love. Is he feeling bad for them because he's wondering will they both survive, or is he just thinking, "Oh man, I felt that before myself?" I mean, there's so many moments that could be going through his head. So, um but it'll be interesting to see if we learn more about what he was feeling or if he divulges any more about that. But yeah, it was definitely a tender moment. So, friends out there, what do you think about that? What do you think Daryl was thinking when he saw Roberto and Justina kissing? If you have an opinion, we would love to know. You can leave us a comment if you're watching us here on YouTube, or you can go to social media and leave us a comment there. You can get to that in our show notes, which will take you to our website and all of our social medias there. Of course, you can look up Screens in Focus also. But if you want to call us, we would love to hear you. And you can leave us a message at 669-223-8542 and let us know your answer. All right. What are you looking forward to, Renee?
So in the trailers and teasers that they show, you know, they're all, of course, not in sequential order and things. We know this, but there's a time when Daryl is on his bike alone and he's out in the middle of nowhere, and I want to say that someone says something about looking for somebody or something like there's somewhere, and I don't remember if I read that somewhere or whatever it was, but does he go looking for Justina and does it alone for I don't know why he would do it alone, but it'll be interesting to see if that's what that, you know, is all about. So, you know, still waiting on my train scene. I know you know, I've only mentioned that every episode, but waiting on that. So it's got to be coming, right? And then I'm really anxious to see what all this is with Daryl on the motorcycle in the desert in Spain, you know, like what's going on there and why and all that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that whenever that does happen.
Okay, so my mind automatically goes to the previews because I do watch those. And
Mhm.
right, you don't know if they're in sequential order or what's happening, but see their town having these fire bombs or something's happening, right? Because Carol's all incoming or whatever she says. Does their town get destroyed? Do they have to leave? Is it okay? Do they have to rebuild it? And then what happens to Roberto? Or is Daryl like, no, you stay here. I'm going to go. I'm just so curious. But it is funny because we did talk about how I was thinking that Daryl was going to go look
Yep.
for Justina, but we couldn't figure out how she
Oh,
was going to trade places with Alba. And now we know how she traded places
yeah.
with Alba. So I am looking forward to just seeing Daryl and Carol being badass as ever, like they normally are. So yeah, there's just some more at stake though, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a new group of people. Besides protecting themselves, protect them too. So
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to all of it. All right. Anything else? Are we good with Daryl Dixon? We're good? Yes.
I think
Okay.
we're good.
All right. Woo, Daryl Dixon's come back for episode 4 as we break it down. We can't wait to break it down with you. All right. We are going to move on. Renee, I would love to know your TV and movie recommendations.
I've got some fun ones. I'm excited about what I watched this week. So this on Prime Video, yeah, you get the banner always telling you what to watch up
Yeah.
there at the top, and it was kept saying the girlfriend, the girlfriend. So I'm like, what is this? So I put the learn more, and I'm like, oh, this sounds good. I'm not done with it yet. I can't stop watching it. It is a thriller. There's lots of comedic aspects to it. Robin Wright she plays the mother. There's the mother and a son and a husband and a girlfriend and other people that they are the main characters. And then there's others, you know, but it's like a psychological thriller. So you're constantly trying to figure it out and think and, you know, all this stuff. And it's really, really good. So, yeah.
I started to watch this. I still need to go back and finish it, but I love that you're recommending it.
Yeah. So, and then another series I've been wanting to watch and I just never have is High Potential. It's on Hulu starring Caitlin Olsen. And I watched her in The Mick, and I just think she's hilarious. She's just funny. And it's kind of a crime drama comedy kind of thing, you know? And the second season just came out. And that then it put it back into my head. Oh, that's right. I never did watch the first season. So I'm just a few episodes into it, but it's really, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And it was fun because Garrett Dillahunt from Fear the Walking Dead has a role in it. And so I was like, hey, so I thought that was fun. So anyway, I'm enjoying that as well. And then we finally watched The Monkey, which is a dark horror, and it's based on a Stephen King short story by and it's Osgood Perkins who did Longlegs. And so I was really excited to see this. And it is strange and fun and weird and kind of gory and kind of, you know, whatever, but it's really good. Theo James plays a dual role in it. And so that's kind of fun. And then there's some fun cameos that, you know, of like, hey, I know who this is, you know. So it's a horror and it's got some gore and all that in it, but it has a lot of gore in it. Let me say that. But I loved it. I thought it was very well done. And I always like a good dark comedy.
Exactly. Yeah. Those are awesome. When you said The Monkey, I was thinking it was there's a couple movies that have the word
There
monkey
are.
in it. So at first I was like, oh, wait, I don't know this one. So I don't know. I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for those. All right. Tulsa King season 3 came out and I watched the first episode and it was so good. I'm like, yes, Sylvester Stallone is back as Tulsa King. So highly recommend anybody go watch that. It's on Paramount Plus. I also started watching The Black Rabbit, which is on Netflix with Justin Bateman and Jude Law. Okay, I am liking this. I think I'm on episode 3, but I know a couple of people that are like binging it, love it. I'm like, whoa, I'm liking it. I do really like it, but I feel like they love it more than me. So I'm on the ride. I'm going to see what happens. It's good. It's about two brothers. Jude Law is the one has a restaurant, gives you a little bit of Bear vibes, but not really. But it is going through that, like building this restaurant. And then you have Jason Bateman, who's like deals drugs, just doesn't do things that are maybe, you know, right, morally right, whatever it is, and how he needs money. And he comes to his brother to like, can you help me out here? And so takes you on a ride. So know that. That's on Netflix. And then I watch Ride with Norman Reedus. I've seen 2 episodes so far. Are you watching?
Not yet. It was on my list, you know, and I didn't even get to that. But yes, I'm very excited. He's got some great guests this season. So I'm very excited.
So first guest, of course, was Kim Coates and then Robert Patrick. And Robert Patrick, is that his name? Yeah, Robert Patrick, right? Yeah, Robert Patrick. And they're both in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is kind of nice, right? So revisiting Georgia again, right? Because Norman's all over the place. He needs to come home, you know, well, not home, but, you know, basically home.
Yeah, base camp.
Yeah, exactly. So that's been good. And I'm going to continue to watch that. And, you know, reality TV starts up again. Dancing with the Stars started. The Voice is going to come back on. So I'm really excited. I love them all. I watch them all. So go check them out. So movies. Okay, I watched a movie called The Wrong Paris on Netflix. It is so damn silly and far-fetched, but did I watch it? Yes. 3 times I had to turn it off because of how late it was getting, but I went back and pressed play. So that's saying something, right? That I went back 3 times because I wanted to finish this movie. It is such a silly movie, but it was fun. It was romantic, and it was Cosgrove. What's that actress's name? I really am finding that I really like her. Miranda Cosgrove, is that what it is?
So it's Miranda Cosgrove.
I have liked a lot of romantic movies and things that I've seen with her. And so that's what drew me in to watch it. And I like her. I like her. So very silly. Know that. And then I also watched Jeremiah Johnson on Tubi, and I'm on a Robert Redford kick. So had to watch it. Loved it. Everyone that hasn't seen it, go check it out. It's a mountain man surviving. So it's good. All right. So that's a wrap up of Daryl Dixon, our TV and movies. And go check out our Robert Redford tribute. Thank you, Renee, so much for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me. I love it. It's always a blast.
I would hunt you down probably, or whatever it is. I don't know. Renee, where are you? Come talk to me. I have to share all my feelings and you. But no, seriously, I do appreciate everything that you give to Screens in Focus, your time, your insights and everything else. So I really do appreciate you and
I appreciate Yes, I appreciate everything you do too, because I know how hard you work on all of this. And so it's fun to be a part of it. So
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I'm so glad you say yes every time I reach out. So. All right, friends out there, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you and that you joined us. And we hope that we said something that gave you a chuckle, some insight, some TV and movie recommendations. Follow Screens in Focus at screensinfocus.com. And remember to keep watching, keep exploring, and keep those screens in focus. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.